Well, hi everyone. We are so thrilled that you're here today. I first of all want to say to all of you that I hope you're safe and that we are pushing for you. Small business is big business, and we are so excited to be able to spend some time with all of you today. However, it's really no secret that COVID is challenging small businesses everywhere. And it's causing them to rethink the entire brick and mortar business model. With physical retail locations that are temporarily closed and e-commerce on the rise, it is crucial for small businesses to pivot to digital to weather the pandemic. And some numbers out there that are just astounding. Online sales grew by nearly 50% at the peak of the pandemic. And experts are predicting that this shift may in fact be permanent. And according to another recent survey, 41% of consumers are currently shopping via social media, and 51% say they will continue using in-app shopping post-COVID. So I think we would all agree that when we talk about what the new normal will be, the new normal is probably here. At Mastercard, we're really excited to support small business. And we do that one way by really trying to understand what they're thinking and feeling. And we do that by research. So in a recent Mastercard study of small businesses across North America, 76% say that the pandemic has prompted them to become more digital, with 82% actually changing how their business sends and receives payments. And 70% are actually willing to invest in technology that's going to be required to advance their payment systems. We also know that 73% say that digital payments are the new normal for their business going forward. So we know that digitization is here to stay. And I am thrilled because today, in order to learn more about how small businesses can successfully pivot to digital during COVID and also beyond COVID, we tapped 4 powerhouse entrepreneurs who are expertly navigating the increasingly virtual future of retail. So without further ado, let's get into it so we can hear from these amazing women. So please welcome Michelle Cador, who's the owner and designer of Despot, Amber Toliver, founder and CEO of Liberté, Shirley Tavares, founder of House of Curls and a fashion and lifestyle blogger, and last but absolutely not least, Whitney Reifbecker, who's a fashion influencer and entrepreneur. So ladies, thank you so much for being here. I know you're very busy. You were very busy before COVID. You're probably even busier now during COVID. But before we get into the conversation, I'd love for each of our panelists to give us their 30-second pitch. So tell us your name, title, and what you do. I know everyone would be thrilled to hear it. So let's start with Michelle.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Ginger. It's a pleasure to be here. I am Michelle Cador, the owner of Yes I Am Clothing, owner and designer, and I am also the proud co-owner of The Spot NYC, which is a unique fashion boutique located in downtown Brooklyn, featuring 25 plus independent creative brands by people of color, including my own. And I'm also the owner of Cador Advisory Group, where I help other small business owners figure out how to launch and grow. It's a pleasure to be here and to share, as much information and tips that I can to help other small business owners weather the storm.
That's great, Michelle. Thank you. And I love what you're doing, and I love that you're actually helping others as well. So that's awesome. Amber, would love to hear from you.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Amber Toliver. I am the founder and CEO of Liberté. We are a size inclusive premium lingerie brand based here in New York. And I'm really thrilled to share all of my knowledge and expertise in this space, especially navigating this new world we call post-COVID, or almost post-COVID for that matter.
Great. No, thanks, Amber. And we like to say that we're going to get through COVID and then grow beyond that. So that's perfect. Shirley.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shirley Tavares. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be sharing my knowledge with all of you at Create and Cultivate. I am the founder and owner of House of Curls, which is an online brand for t-shirts, swimsuits, hair products, all to help women, men, and kids all over the world learn how to embrace their natural hair and curls. And I'm really excited to be here.
That's great. No, thank you so much. We're really excited you're here too. And Whitney.
Hey y'all, my name is Whitney Rife Becker. I live in Roosevelt, South Carolina. You may know me from my blog, Whitney Rife, and social media. I also own a women's clothing boutique, The Retail Therapist, and a tanning salon called Beach Therapy.
That's great. Well, so let's get down to business because I know everyone is so anxious to hear from all of you, your success and tips. So let's start with Michelle. Michelle, before you took the leap to become a full-time entrepreneur, you actually spent 5 years working 9-to-5 jobs while side hustling to build your many businesses that you have. So I guess the first question is, how did you know when it was time to strike out on your own? And what advice do you have for people who want to take that leap but are worried about the financial risk?
Sure, Ginger. So when I actually had my aha moment, I was vending at a Create and Cultivate conference last year. And I had a great successful event. It was a great successful event. I actually realized I made my more than my weekly pay or my biweekly pay in that one day. And I said, you know what? It's about time for me to really step away. But the best thing about my journey or my experience, my aha moment was when my store relocated into City Point Mall, downtown Brooklyn. It just blew our business wide open. And we really went from, I would say like our yearly sales became our monthly sales. So it was at that point that I said, you know what, I'm going to transition. I was an assistant director for, a community-based program, working very hard, and it was just seamless. God kind of set up my steps for me to just transition smoothly. So I always said that by the end of the year, I would be a full-time entrepreneur, and sure enough, on December 6th was my last day. And I also was lucky enough to win a grant by Shea Moisture for a holiday grant for our business. So I just took it as a sign, you're doing the right thing, you're stepping in the right direction. So what I would tell other people, other business owners, is to really think about laying out your exit plan, have an exit strategy. When I started my job 3 years ago, I told my boss that I was working on my businesses, and she told me, you know what, when you're ready to leap, just give me 2 months notice. So I think you should try to be transparent if you can and you have that support, but definitely lay out the steps, lay out the financial foundation to move forward. And honestly, I moved without any savings. I just took the leap. I just knew it was going to work out. So, just have faith in your business and try.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny. I was just going to ask you, how much money did you save before ditching your steady paycheck? Because we get that question a lot, and you answered it. You didn't
Right.
save. That's awesome. Thanks, Michelle. That's
No problem.
fantastic advice. Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
Amber, would love to ask you a question. So after working as a lingerie model for 17 years, you actually took a break from modeling to bootstrap the size-inclusive lingerie brand Liberté. Love that name, by the way. And you really filled a glaring gap in the market and really disrupted an outdated industry. If you wouldn't mind, Amber, talk us through your bootstrapping process. Like, why did you self-fund, and would you recommend that route to other entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. I would recommend that route for as long as you can tolerate it. I think that it's really, really important to show, a desire in the market for your product or your service. I think that the more you're able to basically show proof of concept within your space, the better off you'll be when you go to bring on outside investment. The idea is to show the value in what you're doing prior to raising, so that you can say, hey, this isn't a favor. This is a mutually beneficial situation here. I have a viable product. I have a viable business that's doing well. These are our numbers. This is where we're headed, and this is our plan. And that'll put you in a stronger position before you decide to say, give equity or bring on outside debt.
No, thank you. And I guess just you started to answer a little bit, but if you take a look at the future for Liberté, is venture capital in the future? And if so, what would a potential investor need to bring to the table other than money? I think it's really important to think about that, because people automatically think about venture funding and then there's the dollar signs, but there's so much more that could be brought to the table. So would love to get your perspective.
Yeah, there's absolutely so much more. And you have to realize that bringing on venture capital, an angel investor, anyone outside of, you or a co-founder, it's really like a marriage. And so you need to have a firm understanding of what they're bringing to the table. And it really should be more than money. So whether it's a strategic partnership, they're bringing expertise that you don't have, they're able to open doors and introduce you to people that maybe you would never have a chance to meet, outside of that situation. You really have to take a diligent look at the parts of your business that need assistance and look for a partner that can bring on and fill in those gaps, because you don't need two people that can do the same thing or are strong in the same areas, because that will leave you in a space where you're lacking in areas that need attention, and that will cause problems down the line. As for Liberté, absolutely, venture capital is an option. It's not something that we're necessarily set on, but we are open to the idea of bringing on venture capital dollars. Just because, nowadays venture capital firms are so much more than just a check. It's so much more than just saying, hey, we're gonna invest XYZ dollars, and in set amount of time we expect a return. They're very much more hands-on these days. So they'll bring in expertise around marketing, sales, distribution. They have ways of creating this holistic 360 approach to taking a small startup and building it and scaling it into something that, you've always envisioned in your mind.
No, I love that. And a couple things. So we know that today only about 2.2% of venture funding goes to female-owned businesses. And I love your idea about the gaps. Like, look at your business, see where your gaps are, and those are the other things you should want to bring to the table. So I love that. Thank you so much. So Shirley, in 2018, I love this. You designed a t-shirt with the bilingual saying, Palo Malo Wear, and it immediately resonated with people. And in an interview, you actually revealed that you anticipated selling about 20 shirts, but ended up with 179 pre-orders in one day. Like, oh my gosh, how impressive is that? But after that response, how much money did you invest in launching your shop, and how long was it before you turned a profit? Would love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, so I invested just $300 and a dream. Those 179 pre-orders proved to me that it was much more than just a t-shirt. It was a movement, but it was also a business. So I had to learn how to make it a business. I didn't even think of a name for my business because, like I said, I thought I was just making a t-shirt that a few people would be like, hey, I want one, and that would be it. But once I realized that so many people related to my story attached to the t-shirt, I knew I had to make it a business. I started everything with just $300. I built a website, I bought inventory. Luckily, I had a friend who printed t-shirts back in Orlando, where my hometown is, and I connected with her. I told her exactly what I wanted. I got my t-shirt designed, and from then, I posted on social media, and the rest was history. I told everyone I knew and everyone I saw on the streets with curly hair that that they had to wear one of my t-shirts. I was like, hey, I have a brand and you have curly hair, so you need a t-shirt. But word of mouth is such a powerful thing, really. So just 2 months later, we did our first Christmas pop-up because I opened our online shop in October, and combined with our online sales and our pop-up sales, 2 months in, we made our first huge profit from both of those things. And that's when I knew it was going to be a great, successful business if I really put a lot of my effort into it.
Well, what I love about that is how quickly you actually, started turning a profit. And one of the questions that I know we hear a lot from people is, around pricing. So how did you determine the right price point for your products? And, like, how did you factor in overhead, the market, and the value of your work? Like, tell us everything. This is going to be really interesting.
Oh my God, this was such a learning experience for me, honestly. It was really hard because I was like, who's gonna pay $30 for a t-shirt? I wouldn't. So what I did was my pre-orders were $19.99. So anyone who pre-ordered got that special rate. So I was able to buy my t-shirts with that pre-order money. And I really didn't have to put in too much money. What I had to put into was the marketing, the website, buying all of my poly mailers, shipping labels, all of that stuff. And then what I started to do was I set my first t-shirt, I believe it was at $25. But once I realized that they were selling so quickly and people didn't really hesitate to buy it, I knew that I could up the price a little bit. So I think that's how it started happening. Right now, most of my t-shirts are valued anywhere from $30 to $35. So they haven't gone up too much, but I just slowly started raising the price and gauging how people would buy them. And really I think people know that they're not just buying a t-shirt, they're buying a story attached to it, and they know that it's something that they can wear proudly and actually have a conversation with people about. And that's why the t-shirts mean so much. And now we've added so much more value to your t-shirt. When you get it, it's not just a t-shirt. We have the packaging, we have the tissue paper, we have stickers, we have inserts. We've now added a House of Curls Gang little envelope with discount codes for small businesses that we include inside of them. So there's so much more value to it, and I think people really appreciate that.
Yeah, and there's a saying that I heard a number of years ago that price is only an issue in the absence of value. So clearly you have really shown value. So thanks for that. That's fantastic. So Whitney, after nearly a decade in the lifestyle industry, you launched the Retail Therapist Boutique. I love that name, which is a nod to the original name of your wildly popular blog. Of course, you already had a very successful career as an influencer and a blogger. So tell us what inspired you to diversify your revenue stream by adding entrepreneur to your list of multi-hyphenate careers. And that's truly what you have, but would love to hear from you on that. I know a lot of people would.
Sure. I had originally when I was in college, I knew I wanted to own a business. I knew I wanted to own a boutique. That was my dream. That was my mom's dream too, to do something with me like that. I love fashion. I've been in the fashion industry for so long. I worked for one of my idols in Myrtle Beach who owned a boutique that I just loved and admired so much. And I learned from her while I was in college. Now, while I say while I was in college, I hated college. I thought it was the biggest waste of money. I had no desire to be there. I only went to college to please my dad. In fact, I had never even seen my diploma. I sent it straight to my dad, and I opened up my boutique the day of our graduation. So I didn't even go to our college graduation. I opened up my boutique. So I always knew that's what I wanted to do. The influencer thing just kind of happened while I was in college, and I was bored and I wanted money. So I started selling my personal clothes we didn't have Poshmark then, we just had Facebook. So I took pictures and posted them on Facebook, and PayPal'd me money. And then that's when I learned how to ship and all of that stuff. So with that, I loved it. And then I opened my boutique May of 2014. And at that time, my blog was The Retail Therapist. I kind of rebranded my blog and sent all of my followers randomly, open at midnight. So any follower who was going to see my blog, they actually started shopping at my boutique because that's when I rebranded. And so then I really focused on owning a boutique. We then opened a brick and mortar store a year later. And then now here we are 6 years later. So it's crazy, but I always knew I wanted to own a boutique and to merchandise and to package orders and to go to market and all of that stuff. The influencer thing just kind of fell in my lap. And now here I am, a full circle. My boutique is where I want it to be running. It is where it is. And me personally, I'm just working on growing my influencing and blogging and social media as much as I can, which also in return helps my boutique. So
no, that's great. And then how has having multiple sources of income helped you navigate during these kind of crazy times?
It has been crazy, but I think thankfully, I started out online and I started out with social media. So being able to kind of fall back on that when I had to shut down the brick and mortar store, our brick and mortar store is still actually shut down just because Virginia, that's where my brick and mortar store is. The rules and stuff are so crazy. Plus with my tanning salon, it's not worth it right now for us to risk someone getting COVID and it linking back. Our town is so small. It's not worth it. So thankfully through social media and through my blog, we've been able to carry the boutique and ship online orders. And then influencing side, my sales and my ads and things in that way have never been better. So I know this is such a hard time to be saying, oh my gosh, COVID, people have lost their jobs and this, but people are still spending money like crazy. So in the big grand scheme of things of all of that is my boutique. I've never taken $1 from my boutique. I've actually never paid myself out of the boutique. My mom has never paid herself. Every single dime we've ever made has went right back into the boutique, which has made me work harder on the influencing side because that is my money. We have a 2-year-old little boy. So, travel and all of that stuff comes from the influencing side. So very thankful, but also been able to sell and grow the influencing side and then put that money right back in influencing and my boutique as well, because we haven't had the revenue from in-store sales.
That's great. Amazing. What a success story. So thank you so much for that. So, talking about some of these difficult times, what I'd like to do now is kind of really talk about how you've pivoted to digital during COVID-19. So Michelle, you have so many amazing business ventures, but I want to focus on Dear Summer Vibes Fest for a moment. Of course, as we all know, COVID has definitely put in-person events on pause. So would really love to know from you, how have you pivoted to digital to bring your community together virtually during this time? And has moving online helped you reach a wider audience as well and grow your business more rapidly?
Sure. So I know you want to focus on Dear Summer Vibes, which is an outdoor festival that we host. We have considered moving it onto a digital platform where we would have select artists and musicians take part in a nice show for our community. But that is something that we're still considering rolling out. It's a lot of work. I have a lot of fellow business owner friends who have done similar things. And I think it's a good idea. However, as Whitney just mentioned, my store had been closed for the last 6 months, and we finally got the go ahead to reopen tomorrow. So my focus has been more so on getting the store back open and thinking more digitally. How have we been able to, keep our community connected? What we've done is I've partnered with different brands such as Essence Magazine, and we've gotten media coverage by Black Owned Brooklyn for the shop and for Yes I Am Clothing, so that the community could stay focused and remember that we're still here and we're still present. So all 3 of these businesses are all connected. And Dear Summer Vibes, we're probably going to just continue with in-person meetings and not virtual for right now because of the nature of the situation.
Yep. No, and Michelle, I love something you said when you said that you're reopening your storefront, but also thinking digitally. And I think a lot of people feel that it's either or, right? But what we've seen from COVID is that creating a digital channel could really be an add-on. It doesn't have to be either or. And so I really appreciate you saying that. And congratulations on the reopening.
Thank you.
We'll be pulling for you.
Thank you.
So Amber, you launched Liberté as a DTC brand, but in the midst of COVID, you've expanded your reach through a retail partnership with the luxury lingerie site Journelle. Congratulations on that. That's fantastic. But why did you pursue a DTC strategy initially? And how has diversifying your selling points helped boost your business during COVID? And, overall, how has the partnership affected your bottom line? Would love to hear from you on that.
Absolutely. I mean, we did start as D2C, and as a small, brand, it makes sense to want to sell directly to a consumer because it has less of an impact on your margins. So basically, you're removing the middleman, you're taking away the wholesale part of it, and you're selling direct to your consumer, which means you get 100% of your profit margin which is beneficial for anyone. But it does limit the reach of your business to what you're able to achieve just through digital marketing and advertising, which in this current landscape is quite difficult because you have so many people who are competing for the same space. So, you know, you're up against people who have far larger marketing and advertising budgets than, say, a small business. You know, for us, that's definitely the case. And so we had already decided prior to COVID that we were going to open up to retail. And so it just kind of all happened in a perfect storm, essentially. And we partnered with Journelle, who is an incredible boutique, and they have a really wonderful base, right? So you want to partner with people who are able to expand your name and help you reach people that you wouldn't necessarily get to reach had you not done the partnership. And so that was really beneficial for us. And I really think that going that route, while yes, it does affect our profit margin because we are going the wholesale route, but it's more beneficial because we're able to support as a community. Lingerie community is a very tight-knit community, and we really believe that the only way to get through this and to come out of it better than we were when we first went in is together. And so I've partnered with Journelle and a few other boutiques, as well as online platforms, because it really is about bringing new product, bringing something different that their customers haven't seen yet, and then also allowing us to expand our reach, which I think is what everyone needs right now.
No, I love it. And, I love how you think about lingerie as a product, but I love how you call it a community. I think that just breeds such warmth and loyalty. So I think I know the answer to this question, but I would assume, Amber, that you would recommend a diversified selling strategy to business owners who want to kind of crisis-proof their business. I assume that that's a yes.
Absolutely. I don't know if it's possible to completely crisis-proof your business. I think at this point, you just kind of gotta, be ready for anything. And I think the best way to, be crisis-proof is to remain agile and have multiple avenues in which you can bring on revenue. So if one space shuts down, like, the inability to go into a store and purchase product, that means you can sell online, or you can do, activations that will bring people to your online store. And so I really think that it's important to have this holistic 360-degree approach so that at any moment in time, you can say, all right, well, that door is closed, but we got the window and we've got the back door. So we always have people coming to connect with the brand and purchase from the brand in a way that is still driving revenue and keeping that community connected and engaged with you.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so neat about different, kind of a multi-channel strategy, because you are connecting where people want to be connected and where they are. So I think that's great. Thank you for that. So Shirley, during COVID-19, prices are falling on social media marketing channels, which is great news, of course, for small business owners who want to reach a wider audience on, let's say, Facebook and Instagram for a fraction of the cost. I'm curious as to how you've approached marketing and messaging on social to resonate with consumers, but also sell products and keep money coming in during COVID.
Yeah, we really just went with the flow. We didn't want to be insensitive to anyone's situation, but we also knew we still had to find a way to make money. So we decided to start doing email blasts, sharing new products and any sales we had at the moment. As far as social, we really wanted to do our part for the community. So we created a t-shirt for Nurse Week, which was back in May. And it said curls on the front line, because it was actually the idea of one of our customers. She reached out to me and said, hey, can you make a t-shirt for us? And I was like, of course I can. But since I also do influencing, I decided to use and leverage that partnership that I had with a lot of brands. And instead of just sending them a t-shirt, what I did was we created 50 nurse care packages, along with brands like Dove, Garnier, and a few other small businesses. We put together this beautiful nurse care package with hair products and makeup and a t-shirt. We even got these cookies made for them with little nurse stuff. And we put out a call sheet. We got people to nominate 50 nurses that were working during the pandemic, and we sent them out to them. And it was incredible. It was just really nice to see like the smile on their face, because obviously they're working so hard, and we just wanted to do our small part. You know, I didn't have the amount of money to do all of this on my own, since we were a small business during a pandemic. So I was so happy to be able to leverage that partnership with brands like that. So other than that, we had people do takeovers on our Instagram page, showing their day-to-day, and creating content was really hard during the pandemic. So what we did was we sent all of our HOC fam, which is what we call our customers. We want them to feel like they're a part of our family. We wanted to give them an incentive to post whatever merchandise they had. So we send them a 20% off coupon whenever they posted their their merchandise. We would send them a 20% off coupon. You know, the more people that post, the more people that see us, and the more sales that we get. Instagram is one of our biggest sales avenues. And then this was a great opportunity to connect with our audience. So what I did was, there was a challenge going on Instagram, the No Rush Challenge. So I got 15 of our most loved and loyal customers, and we all did the No Rush Challenge, like we were passing ourselves the t-shirt. So it was showcasing each different t-shirt, and it was such a great marketing tactic, and it was free, and they loved being a part of something for the brand. So everyone loved it. We chose a day and time, and we posted it all at the same time. So it was really nice to see. And then other than that, we just did a lot of IG lives with fitness instructors, curly hairstylists, and we just wanted to keep everyone very connected to us and not forgetting us. And lastly, we collaborated with a brand of hats, and we did our very first curly sun hat it had like a top that was off so that our curls can come flying out, and it was very successful. It was our biggest sales item of the summer, and it actually led us to have the biggest sales that we've had outside of Christmas back in July. We made twice as much as we normally make in Christmas, which was amazing.
It's great. I love those ideas, and also how you used it for good to help frontline workers. Really quick, just a quick follow on. What percentage of your budget is currently going toward marketing? And I assume, do you feel that you're seeing a return on that?
We actually don't do that much marketing, because like I said, 98% of our sales comes directly through Instagram. So besides email blasts, and we do a few sponsored posts on Instagram and Facebook, I would say maybe 20% of our budget goes to marketing, but it's not consistently, because we have so many people that just organically post. And like I said, word of mouth is what really gets us sales.
That's great. Okay, great. No, thank you. So Whitney, before we get into a kind of all question, so Whitney, during the pandemic, manufacturers around the world had to temporarily shut down, which significantly impacted supply chains for so many businesses, and it quite frankly still is. With disrupted supply chains, and then, for example, factories that are temporarily shut down, how has your business been impacted? And what are some of the pros and cons of being a direct-to-consumer business during COVID?
Sure. Obviously, I'm the end game to an article of clothing or something. And so this is where I chose one job for another job, and it didn't work out in my favor, but I'll tell you the little backstory. So in March, we had the opportunity to work with Disney, and we were in Disney for a week, and then we were on a Disney cruise for a week with my husband and my son and I. And this was a full paid sponsorship, post, trip, everything. And it was like a chance of a lifetime. You know, we would never get that again. Well, I had to trade in going to market to buy clothes for spring and summer, and then fall as well. And so I didn't go to market. When we got back from the cruise, COVID had hit, shutdowns are happening, and I can't get line sheets and stuff in. And so for the month of April, May, June, we literally were at a standstill because I had no new products coming in. I couldn't get anything from warehouses. California warehouses were completely shut down. So basically anything I needed was off limits because everything was shut down. So for those 3 months, we did shut the store down. We didn't really do anything online. However, thank God I was able to keep plugging the retail therapist into my followers every Tuesday for the past 7 years. I've done a try on Tuesday. I didn't have try on Tuesday, so I would just remind them, hey, this is why we don't have try on Tuesday. So for my store, it was really unfortunate just because I didn't get those sales in to my wholesalers in time. We were gone basically MIA for 2 weeks. And so that is when I kind of realized, hey, the retail therapist is my first baby. Influencing is my second baby. Obviously, it was a trip of a lifetime, but it cost me basically all summer of not having product for my store. So as soon as things started to open back up or the wholesalers started going back in, I think one or two would go back in and they would send me line sheets or pictures and stuff. And thank God they were able to get those overnighted to me. And I was able to reopen in July. And we did open the store for about a month. And then a couple of cases in my hometown started hitting. And so we shut back down again. But we have been full force back at the retail therapist, back selling online like crazy. Like Shirley said, we've never invested in marketing other than social media. It's free. It's what I've always used for myself, for my boutique, for my blog. And so with that, we just hashtag everything. We share everything. I work with influencers. I love influencers. So thank God I would send a couple of things to influencers. They would share them and we were able to get the retail therapist back on track. But no one projected in March that COVID would take out companies and wholesalers and all of that stuff. So, it was one of those things. It was a lesson learned, but we were able to bounce back from it. So thank God for that.
No, wow. Talk about pivoting and bouncing back from a decision that maybe you wish would have gone another way, but that's fantastic. And I love it how you've used your role as an influencer and a blogger to actually help that's the way to do things. So I think that's really cool as well. So thank you for that. So I have a question for everybody, so you can kind of jump in. So all of you, because of COVID, small business owners like yourself have been challenged to throw out the playbook and think outside the box. So our Mastercard survey that we just released revealed that about 67% of small businesses actually agree that one upside to the pandemic is that it prompted them to upgrade their digital e-pay solutions, which 81% say has already improved customer satisfaction. So I'd love to know, what digital first changes have you made that will become crucial and stay on to your long-term business strategy post-pandemic? And what learnings can you share with us? Jump right in.
I would say that, even though we started off D2C and that was our, initial push, one thing that we've really honed in and I've personally taught myself and really gotten into SEO. I think that it's extremely important. I think that if you want to make sure that you are at the top of Google searches, your images are populating when somebody searches a specific keyword, you need to really, really, really understand SEO, and you need to understand the nuances of metadata, the alt text. You really have to go in and teach yourself and make sure that you're doing your due diligence so that everything that you are putting out into the internet has a direct link back to you. And even if it's not a direct link to your specific product, it's the keyword that also is relevant to what you're doing and the products that you're serving. I really think that that is paramount for business as a whole, whether it's COVID or post-COVID. I really think that making sure that your SEO is completely optimized and you're paying attention to it on a regular basis is really, really important.
Yep. No, that's really great advice. Thank you for that. Others, please jump in.
Sure. So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that, having a brick and mortar store and having an e-commerce, it was very important for us to make sure that we spread our our reach by partnering with major brands, online brands. So I had mentioned earlier that we partnered with Essence, but we also partnered with Amazon. Afterpay has been amazing because during this time, people are holding on to their coins in their purse. So we have the option where our customers can actually pay for their products over time. And, we've really been just spreading out as much as we can. Amber mentioned the SEO and Meta, making sure that you are definitely reachable. So whenever we have a media coverage, we would always put it in our blog. So there's a link back. We would make sure our Google business is staying active, all the different channels that we have to promote the business. We make sure that digital channels, rather, we make sure that they're active. And then here in New York City or in Brooklyn, they just opened up it's a business that wants to be like the Amazon of Brooklyn, called Cinch Market. And so it's another platform for our store to be on, to be visible rather. And the customers can just purchase and have their items delivered to them same day. So sort of like the Amazon or the Uber of Brooklyn, which is pretty cool. So I've been looking at ways to really expand our reach, expand our market beyond the store, beyond our website, and just really focus on partnerships.
I love that. Whitney, I know you were going to jump in there, and then maybe Amber.
With the SEO, that is the most important thing. And also Pinterest. Pinterest is huge. You can now add your TikToks to Pinterest. I know TikTok is still up in the air, but I know through the pandemic, I was like, I will never be on TikTok. And now I'm on TikTok constantly, and Reels as well. And also Like to Know It, you can upload videos, but video content, my sales were like here pre-video content, and now they're like here using video content. You get to actually see stuff in motion. You get to see me filling things and stuff like that. And then the great thing with that is you can put it on Pinterest. And I would say 70% of sales come from Pinterest and Instagram for my boutique, for my blog. I try to link everything back, but the SEO on my blog, and then I'll direct that straight to Pinterest. So even if you search something in the Pinterest bar, it'll pull your SEO from your blog that you may have not even thought that you were pinning. So that is really huge to do too. That is probably one of the biggest things that I've done all through, because I was like, nobody's looking at that stuff on Pinterest. And then at the beginning of COVID, and I've been on Pinterest for years, I just didn't think about it. Beginning of COVID, I started pinning everything, and it was amazing how much bigger the reach got when I started doing that.
I love that. What a great digital first tip. That's great. Anyone else before we move on to the next question that wanted to add anything?
I actually have one more tip. You mentioned Pinterest, and Pinterest is the most incredible sleeping giant in retail. They generate so much revenue, it's ridiculous. But what I was going to say is, with everything that's happening in terms of needing to be on multiple platforms, you have multiple channels to sell, it's really helpful to make sure that you are optimizing your workflow and utilizing applications that are made to help you and assist you in achieving your goals. So with Pinterest, I would highly recommend Tailwind. It's a really great app that you can install on just about everything from your phone to your computer, and that'll allow you to just pin any photo that you put up. So if you have a blog, you can just click the photo and it'll push it directly to your Pinterest page. But also applications like Later that allow you to plan out your entire social media content plan for the month or as long as you want to, but you can schedule it. So it's not like you have to wake up in the morning and remind yourself that, oh crap, I gotta make sure at 2 o'clock I'm posting this video, and then 30 minutes later I have to post a story. It's like, nobody has time for that. We're all far too busy. So just make sure that you're scheduling things and utilizing applications that are there to help and assist you in the digital transition.
That's great. That's
Last
great.
thing, I'll say this too, Ginger, if you don't care, following up on what Ember said, which was so smart, but also learning the platform and learning your followers on those platforms. Like what you post on Facebook, you don't need to post on Instagram and TikTok. It's all very different. I'll create a video for TikTok knowing I cannot share that on my Instagram because my Instagram followers are very different from my TikTok followers. So you'll just have to change the music or change the layout of it and stuff like that. But you learn all of your followers throughout all of your platforms. And then you're not just creating something to throw up that may or may not hit. You're creating something that you're going to put up that's going to hit because you created it for that platform. So that's really important too, as well as scheduling posts. That is the most brilliant thing ever invented for us.
So you guys, this is so great because we, in some of our studies or in talking to business owners, they tell us that one of the areas they're most confused about is social media. In fact, a lot of them shy away from social media because they feel they can't understand the return on investment. So these are amazing tips. Thank you guys so much for those. So I guess for our last set of questions before we do some really cool rapid fire, I want to talk a little bit about the future of retail in a post-COVID world, if there ever is a post-COVID world, right? So maybe let's start with Shirley. Shirley, with physical retail still in flux during COVID, experts predict that low budget, short-term pop-ups are set to thrive in the coming months. And as someone who's no stranger to pop-ups, both virtual and IRL, what advice can you share for fellow small business owners on how to actually do it successfully? Would love you to share some advice with us.
Yeah, so we recently did our first virtual pop-up. It was back in July when we knew nobody would go to an in-person pop-up, and we had no idea it would be the success that it was. We had 84 RSVPs. We posted the event on Eventbrite and just posted it on social media, and 50 people actually joined. So it was a really great turnout, and I just had launched our new site. We had a ton of new products that we wanted to show them, and I took this opportunity to do so. So I had my cousin DJ the entire event because I normally have DJs at my in-person pop-ups, so I knew I couldn't leave that out. And everyone was dancing and having so much fun. I walked them through our new website. I showed them how to sign up to our new loyalty rewards program, which we created during the pandemic as well. They now earn points whenever they shop from us, which they really love, or whenever they refer someone, they get money as well. We did giveaways. I announced a new collaboration with a new brand. And lastly, I gave them an incentive to shop that night with a special discount code for 35% off of all of our new items, where they only had access to the collection. So no one else had seen those products yet, and no one else would until after that night. So the code expired at midnight, which enticed them to shop on that night. We made just as much money that night as we would at an in-person pop-up, and we spent virtually no money. So it was incredible.
Wow. No, that's amazing. Thank you for that. So Michelle, just a quick question. Small businesses have pivoted to digital to engage shoppers. And what's really interesting is that 51% of consumers say that they will continue using in-app shopping post-COVID. At Despot, you've been taking custom orders via direct mail well before DM well before COVID. So I'd love your perspective. What does the future of in-app shopping look like? And what advice can you share for leveraging Instagram to turn a profit and grow a business?
Sure. So, Instagram has a shoppable option where you can make your products shoppable on their platform. I think it's very important that, business owners utilize Instagram, utilize the DM, have the direct messaging, have as many options for your customer to be able to contact you. And don't be afraid to go above, the extra mile. So I'll have a customer reach out and say, hey, I love that, Brooklyn is dope t-shirt that you have over there. Can you show it to me? And I'll take a picture, put it in the DM, and really have that engagement with them. And going a step further, on our website, I had added an app that allows for chatting between you and the customer, between me and the customer. So it'll be 2:00 in the morning, and I can see every time a customer comes onto the website, what they're shopping for, what they're looking at, and they'll reach out. We have the little chat bubble that says, hi, if you need help. They'll say, oh, I need help with this. It's 2 a.m. I'm up, and I'm like, okay, here you go. This is what I can do for you, and close the sale. So it's pretty cool because even though they're not in person, you're still able to treat it like it's an in-person transaction and really give them that one-on-one attention. So I think going forward, it's important to, maximize those options and really give people that feeling of, I don't really have to be there, but they do. They still want to come and be in person with us, which is great.
Yeah, you know what I love about that is just the way you said that, which is it in all of you. It's kind of like taking something that you might have used a little and really digging into it, and really realizing the potential. So I think that's fantastic. So kind of related to that, one more question for all of you before we do the rapid fire, because we're coming to unfortunately coming to an end. This has been like a real blast for me. But the Mastercard survey results that we shared today really further reinforce why Mastercard is so passionate about giving small business access to programs and tools like our digital doors. And, digital doors is a way that we're providing small businesses everyday business management tools and solutions through our partners needed to kind of help close the digital divide, because we know that there's a fairly large percentage of businesses that don't have the ability to have a digital storefront right now. So I guess my question to you is, knowing that there's these kinds of tools and solutions out there, what's one tool that you have found helpful in your journey of owning a business? Could be anything.
The willingness to look stupid and just being okay with it. Like, honestly, because when you're navigating a new space, like you're going to constantly need to ask questions. You're going to constantly need to get insight or get someone else's perspective on something. And, I will speak for myself. When I first started off and I had no clue how to navigate manufacturing, sourcing, importing, I constantly felt stupid because I was like, I don't know this, but you kind of got to get really okay with it. And that goes with digital as well. Like you're going to sometimes feel like you're not always dialed in and you kind of feel like you're behind the curve sometimes. Get okay with that, because it is okay. And just kind of dig your heels in and understand that you will get past it. And you will all of a sudden realize that, oh, I actually know that all of that now, and I can move on to the next thing and learn even more. And I think that constantly being the student and constantly being okay with asking those questions and being open to answers that you don't know is super important.
Well, Anna, what I love about what you're saying is that willingness to know what you know and know what you don't know. And look, there's so many places out there that are willing to help, aside from the work that Mastercard does with small businesses. Look at this amazing conference that Create and Cultivate is putting on. I mean, the work that Jacqueline and her team does every day is just amazing. So others, just one tool that you found useful in your journey. Anyone have any other ones?
Yeah. For me, it's really been finding tools that help me work more efficiently and faster. So when I first started, I was using a regular printer to print out my shipping labels until I found out there was a printer that printed at 20 labels per second. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know. But it was because, when you're starting off, like Amber said, you just don't really know. And you really just have to do your research, because there's so much stuff out there, YouTube, Google, even social media, and really connecting with other entrepreneurs and asking them like, hey, what do you use and what helps you? And these kind of tools will just really help you grow your business so much faster.
No, that's great. So unfortunately, we have to go to our rapid fire. So we have 5 minutes left. So these are rapid fire questions. The first one is, my priceless money tip for small business owners is?
Understand your balance sheet.
Great.
I would say, as a boutique owner, I only buy products that I love. So then it's easier for me to sell those products. If I wouldn't wear a product, then it doesn't make sense for me to buy it and pretend sell it on my social media, because my followers are the first to call me out. Like, they know I would never wear that. So for my store, I've always been loyal. I've only ever bought products that I love. It's a lot of leopard. So if you go check it out, I'm sorry, it's a lot of leopard, but I love leopard and my followers know that. And so I only buy and wear things that I genuinely love.
That's great.
I would say keep your overhead low. You know, as someone who has a boutique as well, it's consignment based. So I didn't really have to worry much about cost of goods or other issues, rent. A lot of things, you know, was manageable. So I think if you're going to start out, especially if you're going to open a store, keep your costs low, as low as possible.
Right. And I'm going to go to the next one real quick. COVID-19 has taught me. Let's start with Shirley.
COVID-19 has taught me how to pivot. We had so many plans to do in-person events this year, but since we couldn't do them, we had to do them virtually. And like I said, they've been just as successful when you have loyal customers.
Right.
COVID-19 has taught me that we are unstoppable. Even when, you know, you take 6 months, you have to sit down for 6 months and just be on pause as a business. I mean, we've had curbside pickups, but at the same time, I look at the blessing in all of these situations. So it gave me the space to be able to really plan and grow my business and not be running at the front line every single day like I was before. So it's taught me to, you know, really keep going, keep pushing.
Love it.
I
Others.
think COVID-19 has taught me it's okay to be like a strong powerhouse entrepreneur, female woman, but it's also okay to be a mom in these moments when life was so chaotic back in March. And then I had all summer to spend at home with my little 2-year-old watching him, whereas any other way, we would have probably been traveling all summer, my husband and I, shooting content, going to market, selling clothes, all that stuff. And I was able to watch him grow up as a 2-year-old little boy getting ready to turn 3. So it taught me it's okay to just be a mom.
I love that. And I have such respect for, you know, folks that have had to deal with this and be a mom, especially of a 2-year-old. I'm sure that was interesting. Last question, ladies. The future of work is?
Online.
I think it's also safe to say it's ours. I mean, brands are trusting us as an influencer and as a business owner. We are trusting the world. It is ours. We have literally anything that we want at the fingertip of our hands right there. Anything at our phone, at our computer. So shopping online, I think that is the most beautiful thing about all of this is that we were able to freak out for a second, pick it all up and migrate into this world of at all ages. You know, the elderly were able to figure out Zoom and figure out all of these things that they were all so scared about in March. And now, you know, they're working a computer and doing all these things as if they were 21. So it's ours.
It's great.
I think the future of work is limitless. There's nothing that we can't do. So if you want to sell in Paris next month, that is within the realm of possibilities. If you want to take your collection to Bali for a month, digitally you can do anything. There are no limits to what we can do and what we can achieve. And I think it's a really incredible time to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah, the future of work is adaptable. You know, you have to be flexible and be able to just move with whatever changes are coming and stay innovative. So the future of work is innovation.
That's great. Well, I just don't have the words to thank all of you. This was just fantastic. What an amazing panel of women who have really pivoted during COVID-19, but more importantly, really have represented yourselves as just amazing role models for all the small business owners out there. And for the small business owners out there, you got this, you can do it. This is about getting through COVID and not just getting through it, but coming out on the other side really strong. And you've got a lot of wind at your back with folks like this that are willing to share their time. So again, I want to thank all of you on this panel. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate everything you're doing for the world because you're doing a lot. And with that, wish everyone a great day and please stay safe. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye.